Have you ever found yourself just completely captivated by an orchid? They're stunningly beautiful, almost otherworldly, but then that feeling immediately sinks when you think, oh, no way, I could never keep that alive. Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. Orchids, well, they've got this serious reputation, haven't they? Like, they're the delicate supermodels of the plant world. High maintenance, needing really specific conditions, maybe even a degree in botany. Or so we think. Well, welcome to the deep dive. We love digging into topics like this, sort of peeling back the layers and challenging those assumptions. Today, we're looking at some really interesting notes from a gardener named Eng. The specific entry is Notes on Gardening, Part 633, the second blooming of Spathoglottis Plicata, Ground Orchid. It's a bit of a mouthful, so for our chat today, we'll probably just call it Eng's Ground Orchid, or maybe even just Spath. So our mission here is to explore how this particular orchid, the Spath, really turns what we think we know about orchid care completely on its head. It seems to offer this, I don't know, surprisingly easy path to getting those amazing blooms. Perfect for people like Ang, and maybe like you, who prefer things, a bit more low maintenance in the garden. And here's the really interesting part. Ang says this plant isn't just surviving, it's thriving with little more than occasional watering and fertilizing. And get this, it's already on its second bloom in just a few weeks.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite something for an orchid, wouldn't you say?
Well, absolutely. It's fascinating because Ang's starting point, that feeling about orchids being high maintenance,
Mm.
that resonates with so many people, it's almost the default thought. And, it's not entirely baseless. A lot of the popular orchids, especially the epiphytic ones.
Epiphytic, what does that mean exactly?
Right. So epiphytes are orchids that naturally grow on other things like trees instead of in the ground. They pull moisture and nutrients from the air, the rain, debris collecting around their roots. And those often do need very specific conditions. Think precise humidity, filtered light, special potting mixes made of bark, not soil.
Ah, okay. So not your typical houseplant setup.
Not at all. And that specialized care kind of creates this broad image for all orchids. People just assume they're all delicate, fussy, maybe only for experts.
That makes sense. And it really shows how these ideas can limit what we even try to grow. For me, just seeing orchid and minimal maintenance together, like Ang wrote, felt, well, almost wrong, an oxymoron. Ang even says it directly, that they're not generally a fan of orchids due to the high maintenance they often require. That's a starting point so many of us can relate to.
It absolutely is. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Are we just painting the whole huge, diverse orchid family with the same brush based on maybe a few famous, more demanding types? Ang's notes really suggest, yeah, maybe we are. We see those epiphytes in stores and assume they all need that level of fuss.
Right.
And that's where Ang's experience gives us that aha moment.
Okay, so let's bring in the hero of the story. Ang introduces this plant, the Spathoglottis Plicata, the ground orchid. And Ang's take on it is just so enthusiastic, almost revolutionary, calling it a fantastic alternative for a gardener who prefers a minimal maintenance approach. That's a pretty bold claim, especially from someone who usually avoids orchids altogether. It's like this one plant just completely flipped their expectations.
It really did. And if we link this back to what we were just saying about different types of orchids, well, Ang's notes really highlight the key difference here. Spathoglottis plicata is a terrestrial orchid.
Terrestrial, so ground-based.
Exactly. It grows in the ground, in soil, just like, most of the plants you might already have in your garden or pots.
Ah, okay, that's the game changer.
That's the key. It means it's much less reliant on specific air humidity or those bark mixes epiphytes need. So when Ang talks about occasional watering and fertilizing, it probably means a routine much closer to a regular perennial. It doesn't need that constant, precise environmental control. That's why it bucks the trend.
So basically, the spath behaves more like a normal plant because it uses its roots in the soil. That makes it way more forgiving. That sounds incredibly freeing for anyone who's been orchid curious, but maybe a bit scared. And I like that Ang wasn't pretending it was perfect either. They mentioned some minor yellowing of the lower leaves. That makes it feel more real,
Yes, absolutely. That detail about the yellowing leaves, it's actually quite telling. For gardeners, seeing some lower leaves yellow, especially on a plant that's growing well or flowering, is often just normal. It's the plant moving energy around, letting older leaves go.
Right, like it's focusing on the new stuff.
Precisely. It's usually not a sign of major problems. So the fact that Ang notes it, but then immediately says it's been growing exceptionally well, that just underscores how tough and resilient this spath is. It's thriving despite these little imperfections. It's not just surviving, it's flourishing with pretty minimal fuss. And that's exactly what a low-maintenance gardener is looking for, isn't it? A plant that can roll with the punches a bit.
Okay, so we've got it. Aang's ground orchid is surprisingly tough, not fussy, more like a sturdy friend than a demanding diva. But let's be honest, what we really want from an orchid is the flowers, right? That spectacular show. And Aang's notes definitely deliver on that front too. They say the Spath is known for its beautiful, vibrant, and long-lasting flowers. That's the payoff. Easy and beautiful.
Oh, definitely. And that long-lasting part, that's huge for a gardener. Some flowers look amazing, but they're gone in a flash. A bloom that lasts means you get to enjoy that beauty for a much longer time.
Yeah, more bang for your buck, sort of.
Exactly. It extends the season of interest, gives you that sustained reward for your minimal effort in this case. It's a really big plus.
And Aang gives us these great details too, not just saying they're beautiful. We get specifics. The petals have a rich magenta hue with a striking splash of yellow in the center. I mean, can you picture that? That bold magenta with the bright yellow sounds incredible. And then they describe the flowers clustered together with some blooms fully open while others remain as tightly closed buds. It sounds so dynamic, like it's constantly changing.
Yes, it paints a picture of a continuous display, doesn't it? Not just one peak moment, but an unfolding show over time. That vibrancy, the long duration, the mix of buds and open flowers, it all feeds into this idea of an enduring bloom. It perfectly matches the title and gave their notes, The Enduring Bloom of Ground Orchids. It just keeps delivering.
Okay, but here's the bit that really got me, the part that speaks volumes about this plant's sheer resilience. Aang was particularly delighted to see it begin its second bloom in few weeks' time. A second bloom in just a few weeks. Wow. You can almost picture Aang, right? Maybe thinking the show was over and then, boom, more buds. Wait, really? Again? That kind of surprise must be so rewarding for a gardener, especially one who started out skeptical.
Oh, absolutely. That second bloom, especially happening so quickly, tells you a lot. It says the plant isn't just surviving, it's thriving. It has the energy and the vigor to flower again soon after the first round.
Even with just basic care.
Exactly. That's what's so impressive. For the gardener, it means an even longer period of beauty, doubling down on the reward. It shows the plant is genuinely happy. It gives this amazing sense of accomplishment, especially considering the low initial effort. It's a real aha moment, like you said, totally challenging those old orchid stereotypes.
It completely reframes what you might expect. Imagine seeing those magenta and yellow flowers pop up not just once, but twice, without all the usual orchid drama. That kind of success makes you want to try more, doesn't it? It definitely boosts your gardening confidence. So let's wrap this up. What does this all mean for you listening? Whether you're an experienced gardener hunting for an easy win, or maybe newer to plants and a bit intimidated by things like orchids, or even if you just find these kinds of insights interesting, this deep dive into Aang's ground orchid offers a really compelling lesson, I think. It's about more than just plants.
It really is. It's a fantastic example of how categories in life, plants, hobbies, skills, you name it, can get this reputation for being difficult or demanding. But like Aang found with this spath orchid, if you look a little closer, maybe question the stereotype, you can find these amazing, accessible, and really rewarding options within that same category.
Right, it's not always all or nothing.
Exactly. It's about finding the nuances, the specific gems that break the mold. It encourages us to, question those assumptions we might hold and dig a bit deeper than the surface reputation.
That's such a great takeaway. It's about shifting perspective. And the Spathoglottis Plicata, this wonderful ground orchid, is like living proof. It's a fantastic low-effort choice for anyone who loves orchids, but maybe not the fuss. Beautiful, vibrant, long-lasting flowers, even multiple blooms with minimal drama. It really is an enduring bloom, isn't it? Both the flower itself and the way it endures in changing our minds.
Well said. And maybe that leaves you with a question to think about. Beyond the garden, what other areas in your life, what interests might hold their own surprising low-maintenance gems, things you've maybe written off as too hard or too much effort? Perhaps it's time to reconsider those labels, dig a little deeper. You might just find your own version of Aang's ground orchid, your own enduring bloom, that moment of unexpected ease and delight.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep digging into those assumptions.